So, I will tell you a little bit about me and CoachHub. It sounds like Fisher did that already. Then I will explain why I'm saying today that technology can turn us into superhuman coaches, before outlining 3 specific technologies that are going to be making a difference across the whole of the coaching profession, and then show you a demo of some specific products.
今天呢，我将首先刚才就是 Fisher 他也介绍了我，然后也关于 CoachHub， 然后接下来我呢会首先跟大家介绍这个技术它为什么能让我们成为超人式的教练和导师，然后呢我会给大家介绍3种就是对教练和导师职业能够带来深刻影响的干预性技术。
And if you have any questions, please put them into the chat or take yourself off mute and interrupt me, and I love to take questions throughout.
如果在这个过程中大家有问题的话，可以在聊天框中里打出来，或者说直接就是取消静音，可以直接提问。
I'm not going to tell you loads of details about me because of time, but if you're interested in what I say today and would like more, I've written a lot of articles on LinkedIn, and that's the easiest place to find me.
那今天我呢不详细介绍我自己了，如果大家对我今天讲的话题感兴趣的话，可以在 LinkedIn 上找到我。我在 LinkedIn 上也分享了很多跟这个导师教练技术相关的文章。
And I work for CoachHub, which uses more than 3,500 accredited coaches around the world in more than 80 countries. We're growing rapidly, and so it's a very exciting space to be.
那这个 CoachHub 呢，它也是一个由数千名教练组成的一个教练平台，然后这个我们的会员呢也遍布了80多个国家。
IC is doing a great job.
Thank you.
Okay, so why does technology make us superhuman coaches and mentors?
所以那为什么技术它会让我们成为超人式的导师和教练呢？
Thinking thousands of years ago, humans are the way that we are because of technology.
大家想一想，就是在数千年前，在当时就是技术没有如今发达的时候是什么样子的？
The most basic technology that we have is the ability to use fire. And what that does is it takes what would be inside our stomachs having to digest raw food and rapidly accelerates that into cooked food. And that allows all of that internal energy to be processed in our mind, allowing us to think, which makes us human.
然后在过去呢，比如说我们也比较少用到了一些技术，比如说火。那个时候我们会比如说钻木取火，然后通过这种方式呢，我们可以就是做食物，然后让食物加热。
So technology takes a part of our body and it puts it outside of us, which increases our ability to be more human.
也是通过技术，它让我们做到了我们人类其实光靠自己不能做到的事情，也就是拓展了我们的能力。
An example would be the wheel, which takes our legs and allows us to keep on moving over longer distances more quickly and with less effort, which allows us to put our effort into more cognitive activities.
好，比如说车轮的发明，因为车轮的发明它可以帮助我们实现长距离的旅行，然后这个时候我们人类呢，也就是开始锻炼起了自己的认知能力。
Another example would be writing, which takes our need to think in complex ways, puts it onto a static location, which allows us to think in more advanced ways and remember things over a longer period of time and even across whole communities.
然后再一个例子呢，比如说写作，因为写作呢，它可以帮助我们就是以一种可能思考很复杂的内容，它可以让我们做很多比如说战略性的思考，然后呢也能帮我们记住长时间以来可能人类经过的一些足迹。
Imagine living in a community which did not have the wheel or did not have writing, and meeting a community that did. They would appear to be superhuman.
就想象一下，如果我们处在的这个社会里，它没有那些车轮，也没有写作，那会是怎么样的呢？
We are living at a time at which technology is growing exponentially.
就我们现在这个时代呢，技术它是呈现指数型增长的。
The problem with this is that at every point on that curve, it always feels like things are accelerating.
然后问题呢，就是说在这个可能增长的曲线里，每一个点呢，它都在加速。
And this can make it feel, for those of us who don't use advanced technology, that things are getting out of control through these superhumans who have access to this technology.
对于那些不怎么使用技术的人来言呢，这个可能就会面临一种失控的情形。
And we can become superhuman ourselves simply through being curious and putting in the effort to educate ourselves and experimenting with technology.
然后我们让自己成为超人的方式呢，主要比如说我们培养自己的好奇心，然后同时呢，也让自己多接受一些教育或者培训，然后同时呢，也要勇于的去尝试技术。
This can sometimes be tricky. So we saw today a need to move from one video platform to another, and we need to be flexible sometimes to work with what's happening in front of us and stay calm.
然后这个可能呢有点困难，特别是我们现在可能游走在各个不同的视频平台上，然后这个时候呢，我们就要能够增强自己能够灵活适应变化的这种能力。
These are some technologies that are affecting the coaching profession. The first would be digital coaching providers.
这个图片呢，就是会影响到我们这个教练职业这个技术。首先呢，比如说第一个，它是一个数字平台。
These digital coaching providers like CoachHub, this is an example of CoachHub's platform here, allows us to scale coaching to a much greater level than we've ever been able to historically.
然后这些就像 CoachHub 这种，比如说数字教练供应商平台，他们可以实现一种可以让教练呢更规模化，然后让它提升到一个规模化的水平上。
Another example would be artificial intelligence and robotics.
另一个例子呢，就是人工智能机器人。
Artificial intelligence allows us to automate manual processes like coach matching or self-reflection around goal setting to allow us to reach more people at a much lower cost.
这个 AI 机器人呢，它可以就是帮助很多过程实现自动化，比如说可以帮助教练去做教练客户的匹配，可以对目标进行反思，它可以就是以更优惠的价格能够帮到更多人。
In some cases, artificial intelligence could even replace coaching in that conversation for some specific use cases, allowing the human coaches to focus on more complex and interesting issues.
然后呢，这个就是在 AI 呢，就某种程度上它是可以代替教练的，就是比如说在有一些对话环节可能涉及到一些流程性的东西是可以交给 AI 去做，然后作为人类教练呢，可以聚焦在更复杂的问题上。
Another example would be virtual reality and the metaverse.
另一个例子呢，就是 VR 虚拟现实元宇宙。
More and more devices will be being launched over the next couple of years, meaning virtual reality and augmented reality will become more commonplace.
然后在这个 VR 呢，它就是在未来几年呢，它会越来越就是频繁的使用，可能再过几年，这个 VR 以及增强现实，他们可能 对大家来说就是习以为常的东西了。
In a few years, I would expect people to want to meet in virtual reality more than they will want to meet over video conference.
然后呢，我估计就是可能再过几年，就比起说大家通过视频的方式见面，可能更多人会选择通过 VR 的方式来见面。
As coaches, it's important for us to maintain rapport with our coachees, and so if they want to meet in VR, we should be ready to meet them there.
然后作为教练呢，我们知道非常重要的是要跟客户建立和谐的关系，所以当客户他需要比如说通过 VR 见面，那么我们也要尊重他的选择。
We're also seeing increases in the use of blockchain technology.
我们呢，其实现在呢也越来越多的使用区块链技术。
On the blockchain, you do not meet through a centralized company, but through a decentralized network of connection points.
然后通过这个比特币这个技术，通过这个就是区块链技术呢，就是大家见面的话，更多的是通过这种去中心化的网络。
This change could fundamentally shift the way that the economics of the coaching profession works.
然后这种技术、这种趋势的转变，它会影响到我们教练工作的方式。
So that normally takes me 30 minutes. And so let's look at some technologies, shall we?
现在呢，让我们来看向大家介绍一些技术。
This is just some examples, and so I would encourage you to do your own research and find products that work for you.
这个呢，只是就是给大家举的一个例子。那我也会鼓励大家自己去做一些研究，然后选用一些适合自己的产品。
One item I used to like to take with me when coaching in person was a pack of picture cards.
就在我做教练的时候呢，面对客户的时候，我会用这个，就是一叠照片卡。
You can put some pictures on the floor, and a coachee can select which one best represents their current situation.
就面对面的时候呢，我们可以把这些照片，然后比如说放在地板上，然后让客户去选择哪一张最能代表他当下的处境。
There are digital picture card decks available online.
然后网上呢也有一些数字那个图片卡可以买到的。
They have all this week decided to change their interface.
这个呢也是主要是取决于就是大家可能见面的方式是怎样的。
So I will show you something slightly different, but similar.
我会向大家展示一些不一样的，就是类似的但是有点不一样的东西。
This is a deck of cards that is intended to predict your future.
然后这个呢也是就是可以通过网上这个图片卡，然后可以大家就是学来使用的。
You could share your screen with a coachee and allow them to click on this deck of cards to shuffle them.
你可以就是跟你的客户分享你的这个屏幕，然后让他们来选择一点这个图片卡，然后把它们铺开。
And then they can select a card and drag it to this space here.
然后你可以选中一张，然后把它拖拽下来。
It reveals an image and a description that you can take to your coachee and ask them to reflect on what it might be revealing.
然后你可以就是向你的客户展示这个图片的说明，然后呢让他来对这张图片呢进行一些思考。
There are many more examples of this sort of product, so find one that might work for you.
然后呢，还有很多种这种图片这种技术可以向大家展示的。
This is a different product that uses artificial intelligence to create a new piece of artwork for you to reflect on.
好，这个呢，其实也是一种人工智能的一个工具，就你可以自己输入一些可能关键词，然后它会向你展示一些艺术品。
You enter a text prompt. Let's say in a coaching session, somebody would like to work on public speaking.
比如说你在就是对一个客户的时候，然后你们的谈的话题呢，就是在公共场合演讲，你可以输入这样的关键词。
And you select an art style, maybe this one.
然后你选择一种艺术风格。
And the artificial intelligence gets to work creating a brand new piece of artwork based on public speaking.
然后呢，它旁边呢就会展示出一张全新的跟公共场合演讲有关的图片，这个艺术品、艺术作品。
The coachee can then reflect on this new piece of artwork that has been made just for them to think, what is in this that I can learn from?
然后呢，客户呢就可以针对这张图片来思考，他能从这张图片中看到什么，并学到什么。
This to me looks like a stack of papers and could be interpreted as being well prepared or being too over prepared or having one's name published in the newspapers, and the coachee can interpret that for themselves.
然后比如说这里有一堆纸就是叠在一起的，可以解读为说你做了很好的准备，或者说做了可能准备的特别或者是过于充分，然后或者说也可以是一些报纸，然后你的名字你有署名在上面，你有文章发表在上面，可以让你的客户然后根据他的情况来做一些解读。
Another technology that is used popularly among coaches is that of digital whiteboards.
然后另一个技术呢，就是在教练中常用的是数字白板。
By creating a selection of shapes, you can create a constellation with a coachee live on the screen for their reflection.
然后就是通过这些左边，比如说不同的形状的，然后你可以就是让你的客户，然后自己可能形成一些星座，去制作一些星座式的图片。
So I might put myself in the center. And my boss.
比如这边那个红色的箭头代表我，然后这个蓝色的箭头代表我的老板。
By building a picture of the different people at work and the different objects that we're experiencing in our lives, we can increase our understanding of what we're experiencing and what we might want to do as a result.
然后通过比如说我们在工作中遇到不同的人，然后把它就是自己把它放置在这里，或者说我们在生活中可能经历的一些事情，你通过这样的就是图片放置方式，然后让我们了解就是当下正在经历的事情，以及你想要达到什么样的目标。
And we can use noise as a way to help our coachees get into a particular mood. For example, if we're leading them in a moment of mindfulness.
我们也可以通过这个 MyNose 这个网站，然后就是为我们的就是客户可能然后创造一些声音，比如说可能用于正念。
I'm just going to share my screen again to make sure I've got the sound, otherwise you won't benefit from this. There we go.
然后现在我共享屏幕，然后大家可以听一下这个声音。
So let's say I'm wanting to lead a coachee in a nice mindfulness exercise, I can share this with the sound, and after it's loaded, they'll have a very high quality auditory experience.
然后这个呢，比如说你要跟你的客户做正念练习，然后通过这个就是网站，然后你等它加载以后，你可以听到非常就是优质的这个声音效果。
There might be other more creative sounds that we use from a website like this that would allow them to reflect on what they notice in a soundscape.
然后这里呢，其实还有很多其他非常有创意的那个声音效果选择，可以帮助你的客户，然后去进行反思。
Another alternative might be to use words to help a coachee to express themselves in creative ways. This website creates a random selection of new words, and you can create your own poem by dragging them onto the board.
这个就是关于这个词性诗这个网站呢，它是可以就是让你的客户通过很多种通过这些单词他自己选择的单词，然后通过这种创意性的方式来自我表达。比如说这左边呢有很多就是一些单词就是随机的，然后呢可以通过拖拽的方式拖到右边，然后自己呢可以做一首诗。
These poems seem like nonsense, but for the coachee can carry huge meaning.
然后这首诗呢，可能看起来就是有点就是无稽之谈的意思，但是对客户来说呢，它是富有一定意义的。
Now I would like to show you some virtual reality, which may not work, but if I set it up, then we can take some questions at the same time. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat.
然后现在呢，我会就是测试一下我的这个 VR 工具，然后我把它安装一下，不太确定是不是有效，但这时候大家如果有问题的话，可以放在那个聊天框里。
Welcome to Meeting VR. Use the tablet in front of you to log in.
Can you see this?
Yes.
Wow.
This is me. Okay. So I am in this space. Everywhere I look around, it feels like I'm here. I'm going to move to a different space that I could meet a coachee in.
现在我是在这个空间里，然后刚刚在四处看，然后我现在呢要去到另一个空间里。
So this is a nice space that I could meet a coachee. Maybe I could go and sit on one of these cushions over here. So I could sit on a cushion. My coachee could sit next to me in there, wearing their headset in Shanghai. And the two of us can have a natural conversation much more pleasant than video with these beautiful surroundings, and it's every direction that I look in. You can see these whiteboards over here.
哇，
在这个空间里，比如说我可以坐在我那个上面有垫子，我可以坐在垫子上，然后我的客户可以坐在我旁边，或者说坐在我对面的那个垫子上，然后我们可以看到四周非常开阔的风景，非常的美丽，然后我们可以在这里，然后享受一场愉悦的对话。
You can
看到
see.
那边还有白板。
Sorry. You can see that this does not feel like using technology. This feels like I'm in this space. My hands are my hands. There is no menu in sight. If I would like to draw on this whiteboard, instead of clicking on the buttons, I can reach up behind my ear and pull out a pen, and I can draw on the whiteboard.
这看起来呢，就我好像没有在运用技术，而是在运用空间。然后大家看这上面可能没有菜单，那我可以就是白板呢，可以通过就是因为那个耳朵上面，我可以拿一支笔，然后在这个白板上写字。
I can even move to a space and draw in the middle of the air.
我可以也可以在半空中在写字。然后我现在在到处走。
And we could do that constellations exercise in 3 dimensions.
然后我们可以做刚才的那个星座练习，可以从3个维度来做。
And as pleasant as this environment is, maybe it would make sense for the coaching conversation to happen somewhere else. And so I can change our location.
用这个工具呢，比较好的是我们可以就是切换，你做这个教练指导的场地，这个地点可以切换。
So my coachee and I could stand at this barrier and have a coaching conversation overlooking Earth.
然后我跟客户呢，我们也可以站在这里展开一场对话，然后呢，也可以同时就俯瞰地球的这个风景。
I can write notes.
我也可以就记下笔记。
And then I can pick them up and move them around the space, or make them bigger or smaller.
我也可以把这个笔记就是单独拖到空中，也可以放大。
And the way to use the technology is very simple, is far simpler than using a video conference platform.
这个技术其实用起来很简单，就是比我们通过视频会议其实还要简单。
And devices that would allow you to connect to a platform like this that would not need a smartphone and will be permanently attached to your face are being launched in 2024.
然后这个设备呢，它可以就是连接到其他的平台，也可以不用就是通过智能手机，就是把它这个设备戴在脸上就可以了。这个是在2024年的时候会发布。
So I would love to take some questions.
Amazing. Wow.
Michelle, you have said, could you please drop this link to the chat? Which link were you thinking of?
There's original kit. I fell off from the internet, could disconnect, and went back and saw you play the poem.
The poem.
That one.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, I will drop all of the links into the chat. So that is magnetic poetry is there, and this is the artificial intelligence artwork. The others you'll find a better version for yourself. So I will let you research.
刚 刚才 Sam 他放了两个链接，就是他刚才使用的那些工具，大家可以就是把它留下来，然后也可以自己去探索研究你们自己可以使用的工具。
So I would love to hear your thoughts and questions.
大家还有什么问题吗？可以提问。
大家有问题可以抓紧时间来问啊，这是个很难得的机会。说真的，我也是第一次看到这个东西的。So, Sam, if nobody else has a question, maybe I have a question for you. Actually, I see this very, very interesting. It's really, I mean, shining my eyes to see, wow, what's wrong? Or, what's going on with it? With the new technologies, it's really amazing technologies. So I'm asking, how does this works with your client? For example, when you have this kind of we say the virtual coaching or mentoring with your client. I mean, because maybe your client are sitting in the other part of the world. So will you send your device to them, or how it works?
If they already have a device, that's easy, and that's the way that we operate with a video conference. We assume the other person has a laptop or a smartphone that they can connect to. If they don't have a headset, we need to include that in the price. So this headset costs, you can do the conversion, £300. I don't know what that is.
That's around 2,500 RMB somehow.
Okay. There will be cheaper devices coming out in the next 2 years, including in particular 2024, Meta will be releasing a pair of glasses that don't need a smartphone. This year, Xiaomi will be releasing a pair of glasses that do need a smartphone but will allow you to meet remotely with your glasses.
Oh, great. So, okay, I think 你翻译一下好了。
对，就是因为刚才就是 Sam 的他的展示这个 VR 展示，然后让大家就是感到应该说是很新奇，因为就是属于大开眼界，之前没有见到过。然后就是在面对客户的时候，就是该怎么用这个工具。如果说在客户他没有这个 VR 这个工具的情况下，那如果就是客户有的话最好了，因为这样的话其实比那个电话会议视频会议更加方便的一点。如果没有的话，就可能要把这个 VR 工具就是包含在那个报价里面。然后刚才我用的这个 VR 工具大概是300英镑，然后在未来2年呢会有就是价格更便宜的这个 VR 工具出，然后可能是推出大概在2024年的时候。然后 Meta 呢它也会推出，到时候也会推出这个智能眼镜。就中国的我们小米呢，其实后面的话今年大概也会有这个智能眼镜的这个推出，大家可以关注。
Okay, great. Thank you, Sam. So this is the first question. The second question is, so in that case, when you engage with your client, once you get the contract signed, the client pay you, and you would send them with this kind of the device before you do that mentoring or coachings.
I offer that, but in every case so far, they have sourced their own device. And it is.
So will it be also compatible? Okay. So I 先翻译一下好了。
就你在就是跟客户就是制定合同的时候，你会比如说提前就是把这个设备就是发给你的客户，然后就是写在这个合同里面。就是我一般会就是向他们提出这个建议，但他们大部分人会自己去买这个设备。
I will.
So, yeah, go on.
I will send the link in the chat that shows the particular app I was using, There are plenty of others. This one I was using needs a headset, or you can access through desktop. There are other versions, and you'll see them on my LinkedIn page, that only need a piece of cardboard for you to put your smartphone in, and you can connect that way.
然后我会就是我用的这个 APP 啊，我这个用的工具我会发一个链接，然后在那个聊天框里，然后大家看一下，这个是一个应该是头戴式的耳机吧，它也有就是其他的版本，然后有的呢也是就是可能通过一张就是卡片纸，然后能通过这个智能手机连接。
Yeah, Sam, I do view this will help the either coaching or mentoring with a much bigger efficiency and effectiveness, because it will help them to avoid this environmental impact on their mentoring result or coaching result, because they can just focus, because they will not be impacted by the environment around with them. So this will be very, very useful for the people to be fully focused on the sessions.
Absolutely, I agree. Michelle.
Yeah, I have a question. Actually, we would like to know what's your insight on this technology will be applied in the corporate environment.
It will come. If you think of video conferencing about 10 years ago, it was available and people knew it was available, but to use it in the corporate environment meant booking out the special room where there was the video camera. And so the technology was there, but it felt quite expensive, only for the most privileged. 10 years later, we use video for everything. Mm-hmm. We're now at a point where the technology exists. It's possible for virtual reality. It's quite expensive. You need to get access to it. In a few years' time, it will be less than 10. People will choose to use virtual reality more than any other form of communication. Is my opinion.
就你怎么看待就是这样技术应用在企业里？然后比如说在10年前的时候，那个时候我们比如说这个视频会议，当时就是大家知道可以这么做，但是在当时的情况下呢，你要视频会议的话，它可能需要一间就是特殊的会议室，然后里面还有需要特定的设备，就是摄像头之类的。然后那个时候呢，就是应该说成本非常昂贵，只有就是少部分人能够使用。然后在10年后的话，就是现在视频会议大家知道就非常的方便，可以就是随处可用。然后随着就是 VR 呢现在的问世呢，其实它现在目前呢就是稍微有一点点贵，但是然后在多少年以后，比如说10年以内，我相信就是大家可能就是用 VR 的话，可能比其他的工具都要用的多得多。
Michelle, go on. Yeah.
Actually, with this technology, how's the coaching and mentoring will be impact in the corporate environment? Because in corporate, we normally definitely with the current video camera on that, like Teams will help a lot today to make the people in the room almost in the same room, but still have some distance. But that the technology you showed just now make the people happening be sort of in the same room. I'm thinking about Avatar. Yeah. So basically, what the impact will bring? That's from your insight as well.
I'm aware of time, and I can talk about this for a long time. Its impacts on the deep sense of connection, because it is much more embodied. So I'm speaking now into a tiny rectangle, and in a few minutes it will be the same rectangle that my emails are on. Whereas in virtual reality, your whole environment changes. That makes a big difference. The fact that you are... Sorry, Icy, I'll pause for you to translate.
就如何看待就是这个我们做导师教练可能就是在这个企业环境里，它会受到这个技术会受到什么样的影响？因为现在在企业里呢，就比如说我们现在用的很多就是视频会议工具，比如像 Teams 这些都帮助我们很多。然后通过刚才的这些什么 VR 技术啊，这些比较前沿的技术，然后它也可以让就是我们大家都出现在同一个空间里，就是同一个会议室里，这样大家聚集在一起。然后这个呢，就是它到底会就是可能带来什么样的就是影响？因为其实这些 VR 技术啊，它其实是能让大家感受到一种深度的连接，它是创造的是一种具身的体验。然后通过这个 VR 技术，你所处的这个环境，整个环境它都发生了变化。
I'll say one more thing, and I'm aware of time. When you inhabit the avatar, I selected an avatar that looks a little bit like me, but you don't have to. There are avatars coming, well, that they're here now, that look like you and will replicate your own movements. But the opportunity to present yourself any way that you would like to without judgment is an interesting development that there has been very little research on, but will have an impact.
还有一点，大家当时就是看到我就选择了一个头像，这个头像呢就跟我自己比较像。然后你们在做选择的时候呢，也可以就是随机的选择，因为我们这些就选这些头像，就是让这些头像这些人物，然后代替我们去做这些在这个场景里去运动去移动。然后这个就是小人物呢，它就可以就是代替我们自己去表达，而且这个过程呢也是不受评判的。
Thank you so much for having me.